Phillip Schofield. Conclusion, Part 8. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Phillip Schofield, a former British television presenter and broadcaster, found himself plastered all over the newspapers and the subject of many news items as a consequence of the fact that he had an affair with somebody at work. Ordinarily, that perhaps would not make any headlines, save for the fact that 1. Schofield is famous and well known, certainly at least within the United Kingdom. 2. There was a considerable age gap between him and the other person. 3. The fact that it appeared to utilise the abuse of a position of trust and authority, given the fact that he was the major host of a daytime television show and the young man was a runner. There's also the possibility that he has found himself in this position by virtue of being homosexual, and that other standards would be applicable, perhaps, were it a heterosexual relationship. Nevertheless, something that happens each and every day up and down the kingdom has become something of a witch hunt, as people express, some supporting him and saying, leave the man alone, he's made some bad decisions, and he's lost out, and therefore he should just be left to rue his mistakes. Others believing that this man is a predator who groomed a young man and may not have engaged in any sexual activity with him so that no crime was committed, but certainly behaved in a way which people regarded as morally dubious. Opinions have been bandied around, as invariably they are, on social media, and some of you may well have your own views as to what you think of Schofield as a person. But what we are considering is he a narcissist? We've looked at evidence over a sustained period of time from a variety of sources in terms of what people have said about him, what has been reported about him, the behaviour that has been seen. And we look across various fields to make a determination as to whether the evidence that has been provided covers the points that would support him being a narcissist. If it doesn't, does this perhaps instead make him narcissistic, meaning he has strong narcissistic traits, he has some empathic ones, and he has limited emotional empathy? Or is he a normal, meaning that he does have emotional empathy but for a smaller circle of people, and that he has both narcissistic and empathic traits? Is it simply the case that he's an individual that has made some bad decisions but isn't governed by the need to control people and isn't habitually someone that seeks out fuel? Is it simply the case that as a homosexual man who was in denial about his sexuality and therefore married a woman and had 2 children with her, but then secretly carried on an affair because he felt that he couldn't bring himself to admit what he was? And simply, he has made bad decisions as a consequence of being caught in the dilemma of being a gay man who felt that he couldn't admit to being what he was. Is it the case that he might be empathic, that he's an individual that has huge amounts of emotional empathy for a wide range of people, that has both empathic and narcissistic traits, but mainly empathic ones which are stronger than his narcissistic ones, and that he has made poor decisions as an empathic person, and that his desire for a young individual caused a reduction in his emotional empathy, causing him to live a lie in relation to his wife, lie to his colleagues, and lie to his audience? You will have your own views as to what you think he is, whether he's narcissist, narcissistic, empath, or normal. He does show evidence of a sense of entitlement. He's known for ordering people around. He requires people to respond to him. He is the main man. He evidently engages in the shelving dynamic, where he picks people up and puts them down as he sees fit. He also shows a level of self-absorption, particularly with regard to his reaction to what has gone on. There is evidence of a lack of accountability. He has been identified as someone who's repeatedly told lies, that he's lied to his wife, to his children, to his colleagues, to his co-presenter, to the audience, and also to management at ITV. That he doesn't appear to have addressed the relationship issues that he has with people in any meaningful fashion. And that he is singularly unapologetic. For instance, when it came to Q-Gate, he stated very firmly that he had nothing to apologise for. There is evidence of grandiosity. He engages in showmanship, which is to be expected with somebody that's flamboyant and appears on television. He clearly thinks he's more capable and better than he actually is. I think he believes himself to be more loved than he actually is by his audience, and he does exhibit some vanity. He can be rude. This shows with regards to the comments of Eamon Holmes that have been made about him. He's dismissive and shows an arrogance which was evidenced by Qgate. There's substantial evidence of manipulative behaviour. He's engaged in flattery, bribery, the telling of lies, triangulation with object, triangulation with person, present silent treatment, pity play, smearing, promised gain, false compassion, false contrition, invalidation, withdrawal, denial, use of guilt, provocation, projection, blame shifting, use of threat, alienation, argumentativeness, deflection, use of a vulnerability against a victim, suicide threat, and bringing up the past. Quite a range of manipulations that have been utilised, some of which have come to the fore as a consequence of his behaviour in and around the revelations about the affair and, for instance, the interview that he gave recently where he talked that he was at the point of suicide. He has poor boundary recognition. This is demonstrated by his flirtatious behaviours, his inappropriate communications, his sexual fluidity. He initially suggested that he was bisexual, then decided that he was gay. He transgressed the professional work boundary with regard to the affair that he had. He's overshared information. There's substantial evidence of the narcissistic dynamic, namely familial discord, facade management, treating others as an extension of self, character trait acquisition, black and white thinking, the exhibition of the need to assert control, the exhibition of a response to a perceived threat to that control, engaging in hypocrisy, the exhibition of envy, objectification, compartmentalization, paranoia, hoovering, conducting an affair, use of a hunting ground, love bombing, shelving dynamic. He has shown an absence of emotional empathy by the fact that he had a long-standing affair and repeatedly committed an act of infidelity vis-à-vis his wife, and it remains to be seen whether others might come out of the woodwork, as he did have a reputation for being somewhat flirtatious and handsy with young people at This Morning. Furthermore, he's engaged in various manipulative behaviours, underpinning an absence of emotional empathy. Accordingly, as a consequence of there being evidence of a sense of entitlement, evidence of a lack of accountability, evidence of grandiosity, evidence of haughty behaviours, substantial evidence of manipulative behaviour, poor boundary recognition, substantial aspects of the narcissistic dynamic, and an absence of emotional empathy, the conclusion is that Phillip Schofield is indeed a narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.